You didn't fall in love with them. You fell in love with the version of yourself you saw reflected in their eyes. That's not romantic. That's terrifying. And if you sit with it long enough, you'll realize it explains everything. The obsession, the devastation, the strange feeling that losing them meant losing yourself. Because it did. Because they were never fully separate from you to begin with. Think about the last time it happened. Not a casual attraction, the real kind. The kind that felt like recognition, like you had found something you didn't know was missing. You couldn't sleep. You replayed conversations. You felt, for the first time in years, alive. And everyone around you could see you were gone, consumed, orbiting another person like a planet that had forgotten it had its own gravity. Why them? Of all the people walking through your life, why that specific person? They weren't the most beautiful person you'd ever seen. They weren't the smartest, the most successful, the most stable. But something about them pulled. Some quality, some gesture, some way they laughed or fell silent, and you were hooked before you understood what the hook was made of. Here's what nobody tells you. You were not responding to them. You were responding to a signal, a frequency that matched something buried inside you, something you had locked away, denied, disowned, something that had been waiting in the dark for decades. Carl Jung called that thing the shadow, and he called the person you fell for the anima, or the animus, the inner figure, the soul image, the psychic counterpart that every human being carries inside them. It is not the beloved. It is a projection, a film reel playing on a human screen. And the tragedy, the specific unbearable tragedy, is that you will mistake the screen for the source of the light. Every love story you've ever told yourself is, at its deepest level, a story about your own interior. The qualities you worship in another person are the qualities you have exiled in yourself. The qualities you find repulsive in a partner, the ones that end relationships, are the parts of your own psyche you refuse to see. You are always looking in a mirror. The question is whether you know it. You don't. Not yet. Almost nobody does. And the proof is how it ends. When the projection collapses, when the beloved does something the idealized image never would, you feel betrayed, shattered. You say things like, "I never really knew them. They changed. They were never who I thought they were." And you are right. They were never who you thought they were. They were always someone else. You just couldn't see it because the mirror was too bright. This is where you are. Not heartbroken because another person failed you. Heartbroken because the mirror cracked and you caught a glimpse of the face behind it. That face is yours. And the question that follows you out of every relationship you've burned through, the question you're afraid to ask directly, is this: why do I keep projecting the same image onto different screens? Jung spent his life answering that question, and the answer is not comfortable. But you already knew that. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be here, watching. If these words carved an echo within your void, do not turn back. The descent has just begun. Click below, subscribe, and claim your reality. Jung did not believe the unconscious was a basement where you stored bad memories. He believed it was a living, structured, autonomous world, as real as the external world, and far more powerful. And he believed it was constantly trying to communicate with you, through dreams, through slips of the tongue, through the irrational intensity of your attractions and your hatreds. He called the most fundamental layer of this inner world the collective unconscious, not personal, collective, inherited, shared across every human being who has ever lived, and populated by what Jung called archetypes, primordial patterns, recurring images, ancient blueprints that structure experience before experience even begins. The anima and the animus, are two of these archetypes. They are the inner feminine in a man's psyche, the inner masculine in a woman's. Though in practice, every psyche carries both in different proportions, in different states of development. They are not ideas, they are not concepts. They are forces, autonomous, emotional, capable of overwhelming consciousness completely. And here is what they do. They project. Picture it like this. Imagine carrying a lantern inside your chest, but not a gentle lantern. A searchlight, and it is always scanning the outer world for a face that matches the image burned into it. A face that resembles the inner figure. And the moment it finds one, even a partial resemblance, even a rough match, the searchlight locks on. And everything you feel, everything you've stored, everything the inner figure carries, every hunger, every wound, every unlived quality, floods outward onto that external person. That is what falling in love feels like from the inside. That flooding, that overwhelming sense of recognition. This is the one. But recognize what? Not the person, the reflection. A man in his late 30s, call him David, had been in 3 serious relationships, each ending the same way. He fell fast, adored intensely, then slowly found himself suffocated, then furious, then grieving. The women were different people, different backgrounds, different personalities, but in his mind, they always became the same figure. First the goddess, then the witch. First the one who understood him completely, then the one who was destroying him. Jung would have recognized this pattern immediately. David was not falling in love with women. He was encountering his anima and projecting her in full onto each new relationship. The goddess phase was the positive anima, the idealized soul image, the mirror showing him everything he loved about his own unlived interior. The witch phase was the anima's shadow side, the destructive, devouring, overwhelming feminine, activated the moment the real woman couldn't sustain the projection. The real woman never could. No real person can. The projection is always too large for a human being to carry. And this is where Jung cuts deepest. He said the anima, or animus, is not just a romantic filter. It is a portal, a living image that, if you learn to work with it rather than blindly project it, leads you straight into the unconscious, into the parts of yourself you've disowned, into unlived life, into the qualities you call someone else's that are actually yours, buried under the person you decided you were supposed to be. David's anima was carrying his capacity for feeling raw, tender, vulnerable feeling that he had exiled from his own personality because as a boy it had been too dangerous to express. He projected it outward because that was safer than integrating it inward, safer to worship it in a woman than to own it in himself. But projection is never safe. Not really. It is a bomb with a long fuse. It feels like love. It ends like demolition. These ideas are not comfortable philosophy. They are a clinical description of something happening inside you right now, in your current relationship, or your last one or the next one. You haven't entered yet. The anima is already scanning. The searchlight is already moving. You arrived here with one assumption intact. You may not have known it consciously, but it was there, holding everything up. I love who they actually are. Jung does not allow you to keep that. Not because love is impossible, but because you cannot love what you cannot see. And you cannot see another person, truly see them, as a separate, sovereign psyche with their own inner world, their own contradictions, their own darkness, while your searchlight is blasting its image onto their face. You think the intensity of the feeling proves the realness of the love. The opposite is closer to the truth. The more overwhelming the initial attraction, the more it felt like finally, like recognition, like some cosmic selection, the more certain you can be that projection is at work. The gods don't descend into ordinary life. The person who walked into that party and rearranged your entire sense of reality did not do it by being real. They did it by matching your inner image closely enough to trigger the flood. And here is the darkest part. Here is what Jung's framework implies that most people never follow all the way to its end. The qualities you most desperately need in a partner are the qualities you have most completely suppressed in yourself. A man who cannot access his own tenderness will worship it in a woman and hate her for having it. A woman who has exiled her own authority will be magnetized to powerful men and be destroyed by them. The attraction is not coincidence. It is a compass, and it is pointing not outward, but inward. The mirror isn't the other person. The mirror is the feeling itself. Every time you have said they complete me, you have described the precise mechanism of your own incompleteness. Every time you have felt that a relationship made you whole, you have identified the split you have not yet healed in yourself. The beloved completes you, temporarily, because they are carrying the piece of you that you threw away. And when they leave, or when you destroy the relationship from the inside, the piece goes with them, and you are back where you started, reaching. This is why the pattern repeats. Not because you keep choosing the wrong people, because you keep projecting the same unintegrated interior onto new screens. The content of the projection shifts slightly. The structure of the devastation doesn't. But Jung does not leave you there, because his entire framework, the individuation process, the encounter with the unconscious, is built on a single radical claim. The projection can be withdrawn. What you have thrown outward can be taken back in. What you exiled can be integrated. The mirror can become a window. Not by falling out of love, not by becoming cynical or clinical or detached from desire. By doing something far harder, by looking at the qualities you project and asking, where does this live in me? The man who worships his partner's freedom and then resents it, where is his own unfreedom? The woman who is addicted to a partner's emotional unavailability, where did she learn that love is something you earn at a distance? You have been standing at the mirror for years. You have been admiring the reflection and ignoring the person doing the reflecting. Turn around. That sentence is not a metaphor. It is a method, and it is the most terrifying thing Jung ever asked of anyone. Because what you find when you turn around is not a monster. It is a self you abandoned a long time ago, still waiting at the door you closed. Weapon 1, the charge inventory. You have felt it before, that sudden irrational charge, towards someone or against someone. The person who makes you furious for no articulable reason. The stranger who makes you feel, in a single glance, seen. Not all charges are projection, but the disproportionate ones almost always are. Here is the practice. Every time you feel an extreme reaction to another person, extreme admiration, extreme attraction, extreme contempt, you stop. Not in the moment necessarily. Later, in quiet, and you ask one question. What quality am I reacting to? Name it precisely. Not she's free. What does that freedom look like? In behavior, in her body, in how she moves through the world. Not he's powerful. What specifically about his presence triggers this? The more precise the naming, the closer you get to the real content of the projection. Then the second question, the one that costs something. Where in my own history did I exile that quality? This is the charge inventory. It is not therapy in the conventional sense. It is archaeology. You are excavating the self you buried. And the charge, the intensity of the feeling, is the X on the map. Weapon 2, the figure in the dream. Jung was not being poetic when he told his patients to treat dream figures as real. He was being clinical. When a person appears in your dream, especially a recurring figure, especially someone who carries enormous emotional weight, Jung believed they were not just memories. They were aspects of your own psyche, wearing a borrowed face, the woman who keeps appearing in your dreams, who is nothing like anyone you know, the man who keeps arriving and then leaving. These are not visitations, they are personifications of the anima or animus, attempting to communicate. The practice is this: write the dream. Don't analyze it immediately. Write it as a scene, with as much sensory detail as you can recover. Then treat the central figure as a character and ask, what does this figure want? What are they trying to show me? Then ask the harder question, if this figure is a part of me, which part? You will resist this. The mind resists it automatically, because integrating what you've projected requires admitting you projected it. And admitting you projected it means admitting you are not who you think you are. You are also the thing you've been exiling. That resistance is the practice. You are not meditating. You are negotiating with your own unconscious. Weapon 3, the withdrawal. Imagine standing in a room where the lights are blinding. Not the lights on the ceiling, the lights you brought in. Your searchlight projecting onto every surface. The room you think you're seeing is mostly your own illumination. Withdrawing a projection does not mean turning off the light. It means learning to aim it, downward, inward, so you can finally see the room as it is. This is the active practice of individuation. When you catch yourself in a projection, when you notice the idealization, the inflation, the sense that this person is carrying something sacred you cannot access in yourself, you interrupt the automatism. You say silently or aloud, this feeling is mine. It belongs to me. I am going to take it back, not as a mantra, as a literal act of psychological reclamation. You feel the quality, the freedom, the power, the tenderness, the wildness, and instead of locating it in them, you locate it in yourself. You ask where you have felt it, even briefly in your own life. You ask what it would cost you to let it live there permanently. The cost is always the same. The image you have of yourself must expand to include what you've been exiling, and that expansion is not comfortable. It means the self you've been protecting, the controlled, sensible, bounded self, has to make room for the disowned one. That is the work. It has no shortcut. Weapon 4. The inferior function Jung mapped psychological types, not as fixed categories, but as orientations that, when overused, create blind spots. And the greatest projections always come from the inferior function, the psychological function you've most neglected, most suppressed, most secretly ashamed of. If you live almost entirely in your head, in analysis, in logic, in control, your inferior feeling function will be projected violently outward onto emotional, expressive, feeling-oriented people. You will worship them. You will be destroyed by them. You will call them irrational. You will call yourself objective. Both descriptions will be partially wrong. The weapon here is simple and brutal. Identify the mode of being you most dismiss in other people. Not dislike, dismiss. The thing you call naive, or weak, or irrational, or irresponsible. That thing is your inferior function in disguise, and it is running your love life from the basement. You are not attracted to your opposite. You are attracted to your exile. Come back to the beginning. You met someone, and the room changed. The air changed. You felt recognized before a single word was spoken. You called it chemistry. You called it love at first sight. You were right that something real was happening. You were wrong about where it was happening. It was happening inside you, a door in the interior swinging open, a part of yourself, long buried, catching sight of its own reflection, dressed in another person's clothes, speaking in another person's voice, and lurching forward with the full force of decades of exile. The searchlight locked on, the flood came, and for a while, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years, you called that flood your life. Now picture a different moment, different version of you. Same party, same room, same person walking in and triggering the same pull. But this time, something else happens first. A half-second's pause. Not cynicism, not calculation. Just enough awareness to notice the surge and ask, quietly, what is this feeling made of? And in that pause, you catch it. The quality in them you are worshipping is the quality in yourself you've refused to live. The wildness, the softness, the confidence, the surrender. Whatever it is, you feel it in you, not just in them. You don't extinguish the attraction. You don't perform detachment. You stay in the room. You keep talking to them. But you are no longer a searchlight. You are a person with a lantern, holding it low, seeing clearly. And what you see for the first time, what you have never quite been able to see before, is them. Not your projection of them, not the soul image wearing their face, not the mirror. Them, contradictory, incomplete, surprising in ways your inner image never could have generated, interesting in ways that can only exist outside you. That is where love becomes possible, not at first sight, after the mirror cracks, after the projection is withdrawn, after you have done the long, unsexy, non-cinematic work of taking back what you exiled, and discovered that you were, all along, looking for yourself. Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Transformed, not completed, not rescued, not reflected. Transformed, which requires two separate substances to actually be present. You can only love what you can see. You can only see what you stop projecting onto. And you can only stop projecting when you have the courage to turn the searchlight inward, toward the faces in the dark that have been waiting for you to come home. The mirror was never them. It was always the distance between who you are and who you've refused to become. Who are you still looking for in someone else that you have not yet been willing to find in yourself?